Good evening, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight for our very first virtual Excellence Awards ceremony. I'm Frank Sanchez, Chair of the Preservation League of New York State's Board of Trustees. To those of you who are already members and supporters of the League, we thank you for your involvement and for all you do to make preservation possible in New York State. To those of you who are not familiar with our statewide network, we're excited for you to get to know us during tonight's presentation. Thank you to our generous sponsors for this evening's awards, the Arthur F. and Alice E. Adams Charitable Foundation, with additional support from Lothrop Associates, LLP. While we're sad, of course, not to be celebrating this in person this year and seeing you, we're delighted and have been eagerly awaiting this opportunity to celebrate the 9 important projects selected for awards by this year's jury. I say important because they each represent excellence in preservation, and as such, they serve as models for others to follow, encompassing a broad diversity of uses, building types, and budgets, large, small, residential, commercial, public, and private. They offer us both innovation and, more importantly, inspiration. Please welcome to the screen Charlotte Worthy, a fellow board member and chair of the awards committee, and Jay DiLorenzo, the League's valued president, who is marking his 20th anniversary at the League this year. Good grief, Jay.
Yes,
Charlotte and Jay will be dividing the presentation of the awards between them, and it promises to be an exciting show. As always with Zoom, to add to the excitement, we may encounter some frozen moments and other technical glitches as we move along through our presentation, and I thank you in advance for your forbearance. It's now my pleasure to turn it over to our host. I'm going to switch off my video, but I'll see you again at the end of the show.
Thank you, Frank. The Excellence Awards is always a favorite of mine, and especially this year. It seemed even more important that we take time to celebrate some good news. These awards are about people who are using historic preservation to build stronger neighborhoods, to create local jobs, to provide affordable housing, to open our eyes to overlooked history, and to save the places that are special to all of us. The 9 award winners you'll be hearing about tonight truly are shining examples of what historic preservation should be.
Yes, Jay, it's a great collection of projects. There are fine examples of preservation happening in New York. Through a variety of programs that reach communities across the state, the League's goal has always been to preserve our historic buildings, districts, and landscapes. Every act of preservation, large or small, and of every building type builds a better New York. Our award winners represent a great variety of how preservation can be used to serve that goal. Each nomination was judged against criteria that is both general enough to include varied preservation projects and also reviewed with a very high standard of what constitutes exceptional preservation. This year's nominations were particularly strong. We allowed more than we usually do in a year, although we're not limited to any number. And I was honored to serve as the awards committee chair again this year, and I want to thank my fellow jury members, Carol Bentel, Jay DiLorenzo, Georgette Greer-Key, Thomas Jane, Richard Matino, Frank Sanchez, and Arietta Warren. You all put such care in the review of each and every project, and it is a pleasure to work with you. Now let's turn again to the award winners. I'm pleased to present this year's Excellence in Historic Preservation Award.
Congratulations to this year's winners. This is where we'd hear a big round of applause, but we'll imagine it tonight. Tonight's honorees represent 8 counties in New York State, stretching from New York City to Syracuse in Onondaga County. Each one tells a special story of imagination, cooperation, and resourcefulness that we want to share with you tonight. So, for the remainder of our time together, Charlotte and I are going to delve a bit deeper into the stories of our winners, and I think you will be as impressed as we were. So with that, let's get started. Starting in Columbia County, we have the River House Project. This red brick school building dates to 1903 and is a contributing property in the Hudson Historic District, but was left vacant and neglected for decades. Looking at it now, you'd never guess it had been in such a deteriorated and dangerous condition when owners Melissa Alfdemar and Tony Stone first decided to tackle this project. The pair already had experience bringing a historic building back to life, albeit a very different kind of building, through their work establishing Basilica Hudson. That multidisciplinary art space is located in a former industrial factory on the Hudson River, just a short walk from River House. With sweeping views of the Hudson River and Catskill Mountains and an abundance of natural light on every floor, the 19,000 square foot building was attractive despite its challenges. The building was an ideal space for the couple to build a state-of-the-art and energy-efficient co-working space for creatives, specifically those focused on film, media, and innovation. One of the things that really struck the jury was the attention paid to every detail, especially as it relates to sustainability and green building practices. Over 100 original wood windows were painstakingly restored, keeping that building material out of the landfill. Custom storms were fabricated and weather stripping installed to ensure as tight a seal as possible to reduce heating and cooling needs. And the building is fossil fuel free, having had the gas line disconnected and the boiler removed. The people who work out of River House have the same passion for their work that Melissa and Tony do, ultimately allowing a collaborative community to thrive within a once abandoned building. The League was happy to be a resource back when this project was first getting underway, and we are delighted to see what a complete and impeccable transformation has occurred thanks to the people behind this preservation success story. Assemblymember Didi Barrett was similarly impressed, and she wanted to pass along her own congratulations.
Hi, I'm Assemblymember Didi Barrett, and it's my great pleasure to congratulate my friends Melissa and Tony and River and the River House on this very special honor. This building has been a wonderful project, a labor of love, but something that really will start changing the whole dynamic for our Hudson and our creative community here in the Hudson Valley. Congratulations to all of today's award winners.
You know, I think it's important to note that Assemblymember Barrett isn't just a fan of this project. She's also a wonderful supporter of preservation throughout her district.
Yeah, that's right. She's partnered with the Dutchess County Community College and others to establish a program that trains people in skills needed to restore buildings like the River House, which is very, very important. And by the way, Melissa and Tony each sent their remarks as well. So let's take a look at those.
I'm Melissa Alfdemar from River House Project, and thank you for this great honor, Preservation League of New York. Excellence was what we were going for. The love and commitment that went into every inch of this building honestly deserves the recognition. Blood, sweat, and tears every step of the way. Thank you for acknowledging that. We want to thank our funders and supporters, the New York State Empire State Development Corp., New York Downtown Revitalization Program, National Grid Main Street Revitalization Program, and of course the federal and New York State Historic Tax Credit Programs, which without any of these we couldn't have done this ambitious project. We hope that everyone gets an opportunity to visit it or at least just admire the outside, from the box gutters to the copper trim to the slate roof to every single window being hand done by incredible craftspeople. Thank you to our team, and thank you for allowing these projects to happen, every single one of you. Signing off from Hudson, New York.
Hello, Preservation League. I want to thank you dearly for this award. It means a lot to all of us involved in the project to have you guys appreciate everything we did to the building and the final outcome. I do want to thank our team, Patricia Altman, Jason Wyckoff, Christopher Wetmore, Daniel Joyce, Ed Russell, Dan Rundell, Dell's Plumbing and Heating, and Leggett Electric, and many others that really made this building be all it can be. So thank you again. Bye.
Congratulations to the River House. Our next winner is the Fire Watchtower at Marcus Garvey Park in Harlem. This was such an exciting project for many reasons, but two really resonated with the jury. First, the unusual nature of this building type. It's the only one of its kind in New York City. And secondly, the fervent support from the community, which truthfully kept this watchtower from ruin and demolition since the 1870s. I'm reminded of Stephen Mouzon, an architect and fierce advocate for preservation. He said, if a building cannot be loved, then it is not likely, if a building cannot be loved, then it is likely to be demolished. The cooperation between the community organizations that advocated on behalf of this beloved structure and the city officials who ultimately decided to fund the project is a wonderful example of successful public and private partnership. As a rare surviving example of early American cast iron frame and construction, there were unique challenges here, to be sure. Although the one that really struck out to me was the 5,000-pound bell, larger than the average bell, which are usually 800 to 1,200 pounds. It had to be shipped to the Netherlands for restoration. The team at Thornton Tomasetti, who led this project, did a wonderful job preserving the Watchtower's historic character while making modern adjustments that will keep it standing tall for years to come. Firefighters no longer sit perched at the top, but the tower itself still watches over its community, a testament to the power of community activism in saving historic sites. One thing I did want to note, it belongs to all of us as a park feature, and when it's open for visitors to ascend the tower, park rangers will let you ring the bell. Congratulations to everyone on the team. Let's hear a few remarks from Thornton Tomasetti's Charles Van Winkle.
Hello, my name is Charles Van Winkle with Thornton Tomasetti. I want to thank the Preservation League of New York State with honoring the Harlem Fire Watchtower with their Excellence in Historic Preservation Award. Special recognition needs to go out to all the advocates that fought for the tower's survival, to the city officials that raised the money to fund the project, to the New York City Parks Department that kept their promise to restore the tower, and to the general Harlem community that never gave up on the structure. I'd also like to mention some of the members of the design and construction team, such as Musa Rutledge, Nicholson Galloway, Allen Architectural Metals, and Verdon Bells, all of which contributed greatly to the final result. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlotte. One thing to mention about this project is the Watchtower was based on a design by the inventor James Bogardus, the pioneer of cast iron architecture in the United States.
The king of cast iron. So many Soho facades are his constructions. He was a builder and an inventor, and Bogardus Plaza in Tribeca is a tribute to him.
That's great. That's great. Our next site takes us a little farther south, down to the Lower East Side of Manhattan. The nonprofit Henry Street Settlement has been providing services to Lower East Side residents since 1893. The formerly vacant firehouse that is now home to their Dale Jones Burch Neighborhood Center is one of 18 locations where Henry Street operates social services, arts, and healthcare programs. Preserving historic buildings is not new for this organization. They care for their community by serving underserved populations, and that dedication is mirrored in how they steward the built environment in which they operate as well. A firehouse is home to a neighborhood's first responders. Henry Street plays a similar role, And by bringing this firehouse back to active use, the building can once again be of service to its community. The team at Henry Street collaborated with designers, community advocates, donors, and elected officials over the course of a decade-long quest to gain ownership of the building after it was vacated by the New York City Fire Department in 2011. We commend them for their dedication and commitment to ensuring this site was preserved for community use. Let's hear just a few words from Henry Street President and CEO, David Garza.
I'm David Garza, the President and CEO of the Henry Street Settlement. I'd like to express our deep gratitude to the Preservation League of New York State for granting Henry Street the 2020 Excellence in Historic Preservation Award. More than 125 years ago, our founder, Lillian Wald, spoke 5 words that still guide us. She said, "In times of need, act." Now that simple but profound statement still serves as the blueprint for how we serve our community today. Helping neighbors in need was the impetus behind our 10-year quest to acquire this firehouse, which had gone out of service after 9/11. Thanks to its namesake benefactor, Dale Jones Burch, our partners at the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, and a constellation of generous donors, this firehouse will once again serve as a first responder for the community. The team working in this building is providing a range of free services, helping people access health insurance, food stamps, legal counsel, jobs, and much more to live stable and secure lives. We could not be more proud to return this firehouse to the community. Thank you.
I'm struck by the fact that Henry Street Settlement has been providing services to those in need for over 100 years, beginning with their work assisting arriving immigrants on the Lower East Side.
Yeah, it's so good to know that historic preservation can play a role in such an important effort. And this really enables them to continue their work. So we're delighted.
Yes, congratulations to the entire Henry Street team. To me,
go ahead, Charlotte.
yeah, sure. The nonprofit Housing Visions seeks to be a catalyst for positive change. Through their work as a developer, general contractor, and property manager, with the Ethel Chamberlain House, they transformed an abandoned former apartment building into the Salvation Army Women's Shelter. Through their restoration, they made sure to respect the building's historic features while modernizing the design for sustainability wherever possible. Details like the mosaic tile border in the hallway and decorative cast stone panels on the exterior were preserved. The choice to make this investment in restoring details is not always easy, and we applaud the team for making that choice. That attention to detail paid off when the building was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2017. In upgrading the building, lights were replaced with LEDs and a rooftop solar array was installed. Ethel Chamberlain project meets both the EPA's Energy Star program and Enterprise's Green Community Program requirements. The building has also been made accessible with a wheelchair lift and a modern elevator. I think you'll agree that the goal of creating positive change for this neighborhood was successfully met, and we congratulate Housing Visions and the entire team with a job well done. Assemblymember Pamela J. Hunter also wanted to extend her congratulations.
Hi, I'm Assemblymember Pamela Hunter, and I'm standing in front of the Ethel Chamberlain building in Syracuse, New York. I had an opportunity to visit this building during the grand opening, so it's exciting to be able to present a citation today. Whereas, on this day, Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, I honor the Ethel Chamberlain building in Syracuse, New York, as a recipient of New York State Preservation League's Excellence Award. Whereas the Ethel Chamberlain building now serves as an emergency shelter for women with mental illness and substance abuse, and an apartment building for 16 single women in which the Salvation Army provides case management and life skills training to those in our community. Whereas a great state is only as great as those persons who give exemplary service to their community, whether through participation in voluntary programs, through unique personal achievement in their professional or other endeavors, or simply through a lifetime of good citizenry. Be it resolved that as a duly elected member of the New York State Assembly, I commend and recognize the dedicated service given to the community of Central New York by the Ethel T. Chamberlain Building, in which we have an outstanding organization, one that is worthy of esteem of both the community and the great state of New York.
Isn't that great? It's such a tremendous transformation. This building suffered from vacancy and neglect for something like 25 years, including a fire. It's really great to see it reborn.
It's especially encouraging to see that this historic building has been established with a rooftop mounted solar energy system, and further demonstrating that historic buildings are adaptable to modern technologies and acceptable to win awards.
That's right. That's right. Well, our next winner also restored a building that has a particular focus on women. The Center for Women of New York needed a new headquarters back in 2002. Through negotiations with the New York City Parks Department, Building 207 in Fort Totten Park was selected. What was intended to be a 3-year project took almost 17 years to complete. The former enlisted quarters are now home to the nonprofit's research facilities, a conference center, and a museum. The organization's founder, Anne Giuliano Jowin, lived just long enough to see the project finished, attending the ribbon cutting in December of 2019. Now, the actual restoration was very sensitive to the building's many intact historic details. They worked to maintain the historic fireplaces, the built-in bookcases, and even restored the tin ceilings and the pocket doors. In addition, it was made ADA accessible to allow its use by an even larger population. Bringing this abandoned building back to life involved a remarkable public-private partnership, including several city and state agencies guided by New York City Parks Department staff. Page Cowley Architecture, the firm that had led the restoration work, did a remarkable job adapting this site for modern everyday use. Let's hear a little bit from Page.
My name is Paige Cowley. On behalf of our design team and the contractors and all the city agencies from DASNY, DDC, Parks Department, Queens Building Department, Landmarks Commission, New York State Parks Department, this would not have happened without extraordinary support and professionalism to see this across the finish line. It's been a remarkable project, and I'm thrilled to have been honored along with my colleagues in this way. Thank you very much to the Preservation League. It's been a great ride, a great project, and a suitable and wonderful ending. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations all around.
I think we should take a moment to recognize that this project took 17 years to complete. As preservationists, it is further proof that patience and commitment to the project will eventually pay off.
Yeah, that's why so much of what we do as preservation advocates is just about time for these places until they can be properly rehabilitated and reused. And we preservationists are nothing if not patient.
Yes, indeed. Now from Queens to upstate Troy. The jury was excited, especially me, to honor a publication this year, thanks to the excellent new book by Diana S. Waite, The Architecture of Downtown Troy, An Illustrated History. In nominated this book, SUNY Press included a quote from Carl Elephant, the 2018 president of the American Institute of Architects, that really resonated. He said, "This book paints a picture of the evolution of an historic town that provides valuable lessons for buildings of the world tomorrow. The beauty of preserving our past lies in how we bring it to the future. The places we save are not static, and the evolution really comes through in the architecture of downtown Troy. Like many industrial cities, Troy has been a prominent place, but its position and prominence both faltered by the early 20th century. In recent years, Troy has seen a resurgence with a renewed interest in investing in this important American city. This book is impeccably researched and features a combination of archival images and new photography by Gary David Gold. For those who have never been to Troy, it might inspire you to take a trip to see one of America's most perfectly preserved 19th century downtowns. Now let's hear from Diana Waite.
Hello. Hello. My name is Diana Waite. I am president of Mount Ida Press and also the author of The Architecture of Downtown Troy. I thank the Preservation League of New York State very much and its jury for the honor of this Excellence in Historic Preservation Award. This book took over a decade to do, but it was very exciting to pull together the stories, largely forgotten stories, about the architects and the builders who produced these buildings in Troy. I hope that the book will stimulate even more investment in downtown Troy, and that it may even inspire others to undertake projects in their own historic cities. So thank you again very much to the Preservation League. It is a wonderful honor to receive this award. Thank you.
I'm sure this book will take its rightful place right next to Diana Waite's other books, particularly Architects in Albany, which is the go-to resource for Albany's historic architecture.
And she continues to advance the science of preservation as editor of the APT Bulletin, the Journal of Preservation Technology, along with numerous other projects.
Yeah, congratulations to Diana and everyone who made this book possible. It really is a lovely book, and I encourage you all to pick up a copy. So now from downtown to a farm with the Cropsey Farm Barn. Barns are threatened throughout New York State, with small scale and family farms being under pressure by industrial farming and sprawl. Our agricultural heritage is being lost every day. In 2006, Rockland County partnered with the town of Clarkstown to take ownership of the Cropsey property to preserve it as an open space and once again use it for agricultural purposes. Along with the local community-supported Agriculture Association, they set out to save the 223-year-old barn, despite challenges that may have otherwise led to its demolition. The restoration establishes the barn as not only a local landmark, but brings it back to active agricultural use. The CSA plants and harvests organically grown produce on site, and the barn, which has been listed on the National Register of Historic Places since 2017, is now open to the public and anyone looking to buy local produce. Preserving New York's agricultural heritage is an important way to not only save that heritage, but also to protect open space that's threatened with development. We're thrilled to see this community rally to save such an important structure and bring it back to life. And we particularly applaud Rockland County for their commitment to preservation. This is a very unusual thing to see among counties. And now we'd like to hear some remarks from Rockland County's Alan Beers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alan Beers, and I'm the coordinator for the Rockland County Division of Environmental Resources. On behalf of the County of Rockland and County Executive Ed Day, we want to extend our appreciation to the Preservation League of New York State for recognizing our efforts in preserving the Cropsey Farm Barn. The restoration of this 224-year-old barn was a community-supported effort. The barn once again sits proudly on top of the hill that's overlooked for the past 224 years. If you're ever visiting Rockland, please stop by the barn and admire our piece of history. Thank you again.
You know, Jay, I've heard that New York State is losing its historic agricultural buildings at a fast pace.
Yeah, very true. That's one of the reasons why the League is focused on them as an endangered building type for a number of years. We've done everything from offering a loan to help to restore a historic cider mill to funding surveys of agricultural buildings in preparation for listing on the National Register.
Thanks, Jay.
Hello.
And congratulations to the Cropsey Farm team. And now for something completely different. We go to Saratoga Springs for the restoration of Yaddo Mansion. Yaddo. The Queen Anne Revival Mansion sits on sprawling 400-acre estate. Yaddo has been welcoming artists of all disciplines through its doors since 1926. This world-renowned artist residency hosts about 220 artists a year from all over the world. They have a commitment to aesthetic daring, social egalitarianism, and internationalism, and the support of artists at political risk. Meticulous improvements to stonework, masonry, and building engineering marked an incredibly detailed restoration, ensuring that Yaddo will nurture creativity for ages to come. Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson was first brought on to this project in 2016. Their focus was on restoring the building envelope and replacing select mechanical systems. The scale was enormous. A few telling numbers. It required them to remove, restore, and reinstall more than 500 window sash and frames and 20 exterior doors. They replaced the entire copper and slate roof on 104 separate roof planes. And that doesn't even touch the intricate work done to restore all of the exterior woodwork, cement stucco, decorative ironwork, and the porte cochere. Yaddo is not just a local treasure, it has national and international importance. And we're happy to see the investment made here to preserve this historic space and steward it well into the future. Congratulations to everyone for a job well done.
Hi there, this is Steve Riley. I'm an architect and partner at Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson in Albany, New York. And on behalf of the entire project team, I'd like to say thank you to the Preservation League of New York State for the Excellence in Historic Preservation Award. This project could not have been done without dedication and coordination of well over 100 team members over a 3.5-year period. So I'd like to personally thank everybody on the team for their efforts and the Corporation of Yaddo for their incredible support of this project over the entire process. So thank you.
It's such a tremendous project. And if you're ever in Saratoga Springs, the grounds are open to the public. So they're beautiful gardens and wonderful to tour. And, you know, when we were putting this together, I didn't realize that Yaddo artists have won 78 Pulitzer Prizes, 31 MacArthur Fellowships, 69 National Book Awards, and even a Nobel Prize. So the place must be inspiring.
Notable artists like Truman Capote, Leonard Bernstein, Aaron Copland, Sylvia Plath, so many others. A trip there to understand the impact of art this building has had is well worth it, I think.
Yeah, it's exemplary. And congratulations to everyone at Lacey Thaler Riley Wilson and the Yaddo team. And that brings us to our final winner this year, believe it or not, the rehabilitation of Dr. Ferguson's office in Glens Falls. So at the 11th hour, Darren and Lisa Tracy stepped in to save this beloved Glens Falls building from demolition. The small-scale Second Empire building was listed on the National Register of Historic Places and rests within walking distance of downtown. Because of that, there was broad community support to save the building, despite it being in a state of significant disrepair. The Tracys purchased the site from the city for just $1, but that didn't dissuade them. They then proceeded to invest significant time and resources to restore it. Darren came to this project with substantial experience rehabbing buildings, and his small construction company did much of the work here. He prioritized saving as much of the original structure as possible, including repairing the mansard roof and constructing an interior wood frame to stabilize the brick walls. This project really proves that small projects can have a big impact. And though it was a true team effort to get the job done, it's a reminder that individuals have the power to make real and positive change for the communities that they care about. And with that, Dr. Ferguson's office is once again a prominent part of the streetscape. So let's hear from Darren.
I'd like to thank the Preservation League of New York State for this award, honoring this great old building that was slated for demolition, which we brought back to life and is now a part of the fabric of the community. Thank you very much, Preservation League.
You know, sometimes it's too easy to only recognize those large grand scale preservation projects that attract everyone's attention.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, this Ferguson house reminds us that preservation comes in all shapes and sizes. And I think that you, Charlotte, and the committee are to be commended for the wonderful collection of honorees that you've selected for this year's program. It's really a great group.
Thank you. And congratulations again to all our winners. And my personal thanks to you, Jay and Frank, there you are, and the Preservation League staff, especially Katie Peace and Christina Hingle, for their support. And thank you all for joining us tonight.
Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about all these incredible projects. I know you did. And I encourage you to stay tuned to our social media channels for more about them over the coming days.
And I'm back, as promised. I'd first of all like to add my congratulations to this evening's Excellence Award winners. They're a wonderful group, and you know the 9 projects we looked at tonight, although they're strikingly different from one another, they are clearly linked by the connection they have to their respective communities, which reminds us that preservation is as much about people as it is about buildings. Good preservation takes care of our natural and built environments. It takes care of our cities, our towns, and our neighbors. Considering the year we've all had, it's a nice change of pace to celebrate these successes and remember how our field of historic preservation has the ability to bring us all together, even when we're far apart. Evenings like this don't happen spontaneously, and I'd like to add my thanks also to the people who directly participated in this, to Charlotte, to the awards committee, to Jay, and of course to the winners, and to the league staff who worked hard behind the scenes to pull it all together, Shelley Carr, Christina Hingle, and Aaron Tobin, and of course Katie Peace, who created and produced the final production and picked that music that you heard, which in the chat has been picking up a lot of response. People seem to have really liked that, Katie. So thank you all. I'd like to express our appreciation again to the Arthur F. and Alice E. Adams Charitable Foundation for supporting tonight's program, as well as Lothrop Associates LLP for providing additional assistance. In addition to our programming around the Excellence Awards for the rest of November, which I hope you'll keep track of, the League has a raft of upcoming offerings that I hope you'll also join us for. Our Preservation Book Club is continuing to meet monthly, and our next discussion in the book club is happening this Thursday. We're continuing to celebrate our 7 to Save sites with engaging content throughout the year, through the end of this year and beyond. I hope you've been able to join us for a couple of these. There's more coming up. They're always interesting presentations. Next month, we'll have a Historic Preservation for Real Estate Professionals webinar, and we're adding new programming all the time. I encourage you, if you are not an Excelsior member of the Preservation League, to consider joining the Excelsior Society, which offers even more special programming for its members. In these days of virtual presentations, we're all knocking ourselves out to come up with things that will keep you all engaged and inform you about what we do. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight and wish you a lovely evening. Good night.
Good night.